So a couple of days ago, Danco released a video saying why Knuckles vs Hulk is actually closer than people think, which it actually isn't. He's using the live action versions of both, meaning that he's using Knuckles from the recent Sonic trilogy as well as from the Knuckles show, and he's using MCU Hulk with Mark Ruffalo and Edward Norton. He's claiming that the fight is close and that Hulk would win, although I actually disagree with pretty much both sides of that argument. Not only do I think that Knuckles hilariously outclasses Hulk, but I also don't think that this fight is close at all, so we're going to be taking a look at this matchup and debunking his video in the process. We're going to skip a little bit ahead because he pretty much introduces Bruce Banner and the Hulk, which I think is stupid because I think most people probably know who the Hulk is at this point.
And yeah, Hulk is crazy strong. That's kind of his whole thing. He's stronger than Thor, even if Thor doesn't really want to admit it. It takes two hands for Thor to catch just one of Hulk's punches, and you can't say the same in reverse. Hulk was regularly sending Thor flying all around, smashing up him and his brother. So yeah, Hulk might not be the most popular guy in the Odinson household.
A reoccurring theme with Danco is that whilst he does list feats, he doesn't actually break down how impressive they are. The fact that Hulk is even able to damage Thor is fucking crazy given how powerful he is, with him being able to endure the neutron star, as well as able to take beatings from Thanos himself. So the fact that Hulk's even able to damage Thor is pretty impressive.
And Thor wasn't the only guy Hulk has sent flying. I mean, just ask Ultron how hard Hulk can hit. Just ask Abomination what it's like to tangle with the Hulk. Hulk regularly fought against the military and smashed up all their equipment, all their trucks, their tanks, weapons, and everything. He straight up yeeted Emil Blonsky straight across the yard. Like, holy crap, Hulk will just straight up kill a guy.
Another thing that Danco does is he fails to take into account that characters just get naturally stronger, since in fiction that's usually how it works. Like, he brings up the fact that, oh, Hulk can like fodderize Thor, and then in the next segment he's like, oh, Hulk can fodderize like a regular ass super soldier who's probably not even on Captain America's level. You see what I mean? It's a very big gap in power. It's like, why the fuck would you even need to bring up the Emil Blonsky scans when you just talked about him beating the crap out of Thor and Ultron? It doesn't really make much sense to me, especially as there's a misconception with Hulk where people claim that he got worse or weaker or nerfed or what have you as the MCU went on, and this really isn't the case because, as Danco himself stated, in his debut film he went from brawling with super soldiers to being able to brawl with Thor himself. So yeah, it's pretty clear he got stronger.
And I mean, just look at the way that Hulk completely decked a big old giant Leviathan. He did that with just one punch. And the thing is, it's actually pretty consistent for Hulk to do stuff like this. I mean, just ask Surtur. Just look at how he was messing around with other Leviathans in the same fight. He's even so strong, he's able to dent a vibranium wall. The only other guy we've seen damage vibranium with his bare hands was none other than Thanos.
I just love this. Oh, the only character we've seen who can damage vibranium with his bare hands is Thanos, and he shows clips of Thanos using his Buster Sword in order to, well, bust through vibranium. It's pretty funny to think about.
So yeah, Hulk is very strong. On top of that, well, Hulk is insanely durable. I mean, sure, he might have had a low showing against Thanos, but I think that's actually just a lot more impressive for Thanos. It shows how powerful Thanos is, rather than showing off how weak and puny the Hulk is.
I mean, taking a beating from Thanos is obviously going to be impressive no matter the context, but something that Danco is failing to address is the fact that Thanos was holding back in Infinity War, meaning that Hulk taking a beating from Thanos in this film is obviously going to be less impressive than an out-of-shape Thor taking a beating from Thanos in Endgame, since obviously the Mad Titan was no longer holding back and going for the kill in that film. Just a little something to think about.
I also think there's an element of bad writing here, and that's kind of skewed our perspective. Like, let's say that Thanos still beat the absolute crap out of the Hulk, still knocked the Hulk out exactly like he did. All that still happens. But then Hulk explodes out of the Hulkbuster at the end of the movie, like he was supposed to, out so his body's full obsidian, then fights against Thanos again, and does better the second time around. Not even saying he wins the fight, just does better. Don't you think we'd all give a little more grace to Hulk for losing to Thanos the first time? Instead, we got this, and we somehow ended up here, and since this was the last time we really saw Hulk, like, actually beating the Hulk, left a different impression.
I'm failing to see how Hulk taking an L to Thanos in Infinity War is somehow bad writing or like a bad showing, considering literally everyone in Infinity War also took an L to Thanos.
Because yeah, like I said, don't let this one thing fool you. Hulk is crazy tough. He's taken tons of attacks from Thor. He's taken tons of attacks from Abomination.
So let me get this straight. In your mind, Hulk being able to survive a barrage of punches from Thanos is somehow less impressive than Hulk being able to endure a beating from a holding back Thor and Abomination, a character who was slightly stronger or comparable to 2008 Hulk, who is the weakest version of Hulk we've seen up until Phase 4. Not a good argument.
Tons of attacks from Hulkbuster. acting like none of them really even bothered him that much.
I'm sorry? Hulk took no damage from basically all of these attacks in your mind? Well, yeah, I mean, if we don't include this.
You don't deserve this power. Now watch your death!
Or this. Or this. Yeah, you're really overhyping the Hulk here.
Phased him a little bit, sure, but nowhere close to actually putting him down. I mean, even these attacks from Thor, when he was tapping into his true god, like straight up divine power, Hulk was back at it. Hulk technically knocked Thor out in that fight.
Yeah, this is beyond dishonest, it's not even funny. The only reason why Hulk actually won in that fight was because the Grandmaster cheated. Like, Hulk would have 100% lost if Thor actually fought him in a fair fight.
He fell from like miles up in the air and crash landed. He was knocked out, but still survived. Was rammed through like 50 floors and had a skyscraper crash down on top of him. He was only knocked out by a sucker punch. So yeah, I don't think I'm exaggerating here. I want to make sure my point's clear. Hulk is really durable.
No one's denying the fact that the Incredible Hulk of all characters is very durable. Like, what's next? You're gonna try telling us that Superman is really strong? But at the end of the day, the way that you're describing his durability, if anything, you're trying to overhype him whilst also managing to lowball him at the same time. It's pretty impressive. You've been taking notes from Screw Attack, haven't you?
It's gonna be really hard to injure him. End of the day, well, the Hulk is still the Hulk. And that still means something. Still means he's the strongest there is.
Yeah, Hulk really isn't close to being the strongest one there is. In terms of the Avengers, he's getting folded physically by characters like Captain Marvel and especially Stormbreaker Thor. Not to mention he's likely taking L's to Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch, Mark 85 Iron Man. Like, he's taking L's to a lot of characters, so saying that he's the strongest one there is pretty dishonest. Even if it is like the iconic catchphrase for Hulk, it wouldn't really apply to him in this context.
Knuckles is the most dangerous warrior in the galaxy, having trained since birth in the ways of combat. He's also incredibly strong. In fact, that's what he's most known for. Knuckles is able to lift up to 100 tons. He's able to casually and routinely pick up heavy objects and throw them around at ease. He can shred robots with just one hit each. And Knuckles was even able to easily overpower Sonic, matching Sonic's charge, even catching Sonic with just one hand and slamming him into the ground.
Keep in mind that in the first Sonic film, Sonic was capable of releasing energy discharges that were calculated to be planetary. You know, just thought I'd mention it. Danco's not going to do it, so I may as well do it.
And Sonic's charge can now pack quite a hit. And just like a Sonic, Knuckles only gets stronger and stronger and more powerful as it charges up with chaos energy. So his limit might actually be way higher than this. Knuckles is also plenty tough. He's able to pretty routinely shrug off attacks, even if some of these attacks are said to be just as powerful as Knuckles himself, or maybe even stronger from a charged up Sonic. He's been thrown around and smashed through things, and overall always claimed to be just fine. But this also might be a bit of an exaggeration, because Knuckles is never going to actually say if he's really hurt or not.
Pretty dishonest once again that you say, oh, Knuckles isn't going to admit that he's hurt or not, as you show the scene and cut away just before Knuckles says that he actually is pretty hurt. Not to mention that Knuckles consistently admits throughout the film that yes, Shadow is more impressive than Sonic, and he actually took an L to Shadow. So yeah, you're just being dishonest once again.
Lastly, while Knuckles is a part of Team Sonic, he's very fast. It's kind of hard to say exactly how fast he is, because while Sonic is definitely faster than him, Knuckles has shown off speed that's able to rival Sonic, and maybe some of his slower moments. But in a fight, well, Knuckles can definitely hold his own. He's an acrobatic fighter, he's fast enough to stop a charge from Sonic directed right at him. And when they're really fighting and going all out, yes, Sonic still is faster, but Knuckles is able to land his hits in there, he can throw some punches fast enough that not even Sonic can avoid them.
Because Danco himself isn't going to go over how impressive these feats are, I may as well do it. The energy surge that Sonic generates was able to travel across the galaxy in a small amount of time, as stated by Tails, with this feat being calculated to be over 100 trillion times faster than the speed of light. So obviously Knuckles being able to contend with this speed would put him around that level, meaning that yes, he would automatically blitz Hulk by default. However, for low-end scaling, we see consistently in the Sonic movie guidebook that Sonic is capable of just running at hyperspeed, which is another way of saying light speed, with Knuckles able to casually react to Sonic. So yes, regardless, light speed and faster than light speeds would be casual for Knuckles, meaning that yes, he would blitz Hulk.
So who wins here? Well, let's break it down. Now, the name of the game here is really strength versus speed. Yeah, Knuckles is strong, he can live up to 100 tons, but Hulk should still be stronger.
Yeah, you could actually say that Knuckles is stronger than Hulk since he's able to consistently beat Sonic and is described as being the stronger one of the two, with Sonic being casually in the planetary ranges since he's able to generate outbursts that have that level of energy yield. Not to mention, he can also take beatings from Shadow, who not only has large planetary scaling, since he's able to passively charge the Eclipse Cannon with his own energy output, but we see that Shadow is also just flat out superior to Sonic in Sonic 3, and Knuckles was able to survive a beating from him. So yes, planetary to large planetary scaling for Knuckles' AP and durability should honestly be pretty casual.
Now, they've nerfed him and nerfed him as the MCU has gone on. Hulk is a lot weaker now than he was at the start. But at his best, well, he should still be significantly stronger than Knuckles. But even at his worst, as Professor Hulk, right after snapping the Infinity Gauntlet, Hulk was still able to hold up a huge part of Avengers Mansion with just one arm.
The funny thing about this is that you could actually upscale Professor Hulk to be way more durable than Knuckles, since he was the only character capable of performing the snap. But once again, Danco being Danco, he has to bring in lifting feats as if it fucking matters.
That's better than anything we've seen from Knuckles, even if Knuckles has shown off some nice feats. And then at his best, well, Hulk was able to stagger Server. Hulk was able to smash Thor so hard that he started seeing visions of his dead dad. Hulk one-shotted a Leviathan that was so tough that Iron Man was going to run out of power before he even breached his armor.
Yeah, so Hulk destroying a Leviathan that was capable of resisting Iron Man's city-level laser apparently makes him more powerful than a planetary to large planetary Knuckles. That's what you're trying to make us believe?
Don't see Knuckles coming close to any of that.
Yeah, I agree. Knuckles isn't close to any of that. Do you want to know why? Because he's demonstrated feats that are massively above most of what you've mentioned.
But on the other hand, we don't see Hulk coming close to any of Knuckles' speed feats. Now, Hulk has some impressive speed feats, like catching Mjolnir, or maybe possibly statuing Abomination.
Yeah, Abomination's best speed meta was reacting to Hulk in his base form, as well as the fact that he could catch a missile out of the air. It's not really impressive compared to someone like Sonic, who could statue missiles, which Knuckles would upscale from.
That's nothing compared to Knuckles. The Echidna is straight up rival Sonic at his best. That's definitely faster than anything that we've seen from the Hulk.
Slight change to that sentence. It's more impressive than not just anything that Hulk has shown, but also Iron Man and Thor and Captain Marvel. You know, the same Captain Marvel who traveled across several light years in a matter of a day in order to save Stark at the start of Endgame. Yeah, Sonic's feat would be way more impressive than that. Like, I think back in the day, I actually calculated that feat for Carol, and I think it put her around 100 times faster than the speed of light. And Sonic's feat was around 100 trillion times the speed of light. Yeah, it really isn't close. And obviously Captain Marvel is way faster than Hulk.
It's gonna be like the Hulk trying to tag Quicksilver, although Quicksilver has the punching power of someone like Spider-Man. That might be a difficult fight for even someone like Hulk.
I'm sorry, this analogy is so misleading. You're trying to say that Knuckles is comparable to Quicksilver? Knuckles may as well be comic Flash. Like, the speed gap is that massive. He may as well just be comics Barry Allen at this point. And also, saying that Knuckles has comparable strength to Spider-Man? Mate, he has planetary scaling. Like, he has strength comparable to Thor and Hulk from the MCU. So again, this is very misleading.
On top of that, well, Knuckles is undeniably a better and more skilled fighter. Hulk is kind of dumb and just smashes things, and that's when he's at his best. Knuckles is actually a trained and skilled warrior. He's known as the best warrior in the galaxy, and so he's not just going to be running in there and trying to go blow for blow and trading hands with the Hulk.
No, Knuckles is going to go in and trade blow for blows with the Hulk, except he's going to be throwing way more punches, and he's also going to be outmaneuvering Hulk with ease.
But I think the kicker here is probably durability. Hulk is way tougher than Knuckles, and it shows. Knuckles can take some hits, but he still gets consistently knocked around and banged up as he fights. I can easily see Hulk injuring Knuckles in this fight. It's more just a question of how often Hulk can hit Knuckles.
I mean, yeah, I agree with what you just said. Like, yes, they will be able to hurt each other because they are remarkably similar when it comes to AP and durability, but again, like, Hulk's never gonna land a hit on Knuckles. Like, even if you're generous and say that, oh, Hulk was able to scale to Thanos, who scaled to Captain Marvel, meaning that Hulk should have Captain Marvel's level of speed, it would still put him around 100,000 times the speed of light, and that is just not even remotely enough in order to match Knuckles' speed. Even if Knuckles was at 1% of Sonic's speed, he would still be over 1 trillion times the speed of light, and that just isn't enough.
But as for the Hulk, well, he's only been knocked out 3 times in the MCU. He fell from miles up in the air, crash landed, and was knocked out that way. He was rammed through like empty floors and had a skyscraper crashed down on top of him, was only knocked out by a sucker punch that time. And then, of course, he was knocked out by Thanos. The problem is, I don't see Knuckles being powerful enough to replicate any of it.
That version of the Hulkbuster scales to around country level, meaning that yes, a planetary character like Knuckles would have no issues being able to defeat Age of Ultron Hulk. And also, once again, Thanos was holding back significantly, meaning that it's not like Hulk scales to the full power of Thanos.
And just because of how arrogant Knuckles is and how he tends to fight, I think it's way more likely that Hulk lands a hit on Knuckles versus Knuckles going untouched and finally knocking Hulk out.
I'm sorry, but you're objectively incorrect here. The speed gap is massive. Like, he is not gonna land a hit on Knuckles.
Especially since Hulk way outclasses Knuckles with strength and durability. It's a closer fight than you think. Like, if you want to say that Knuckles has strength on par with Iron Man, being able to lift 100 tons, and speed like Quicksilver, you could see a way that Knuckles wins. But I'm not discounting the Hulk that much. Strength and durability should be enough to give him the victory here. Hulk wins.
Yeah, you hilariously misrepresent the Sonic scaling, it's not even funny. First of all, saying that Knuckles has comparable strength to Iron Man. First of all, even if that was the case, Iron Man had a better showing against Thanos than Hulk did, so I guess Knuckles would be stronger than him by your own logic. But no, like, even if we look at Knuckles' own feats, like, he was able to consistently beat characters who scale to planetary, such as Sonic, and also take beatings from characters like Shadow, who casually scale to large planetary. So yes, he does have very impressive feats that trump anything that Iron Man has shown. Secondly, implying that Knuckles has speed comparable to Quicksilver, mate, Quicksilver wishes he has this level of speed. Again, 100,000 times light speed for Hulk at his absolute max versus 100 trillion times speed of light for characters who scale to Sonic. Yeah, it really isn't close, my guy. It's also one of those where he just shows his bias towards Marvel, considering Danco has done fights in the past, like I think he did MCU Thor with Stormbreaker versus Snyder Cut Superman, and he literally said that Thor had the advantage in every single way, but Superman is faster, therefore Superman would win. So it's like, why aren't you keeping the same energy for Knuckles? It's like, just because Hulk is stronger, more durable, you clearly prioritize speed in your matchups, so why didn't Knuckles immediately win? Like, are you just being biased, or are you just hypocritical? I'm the Gaming Rift, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and Danco, you just defeated your entire argument.